around like that at age 58. So I want to get that out the way first. But I wanted to get to a bigger point. Because the time comes, somewhat pun intended, for us to take the gloves off when it comes to Jake Paul. Now, unlike people who've worked with me, unlike people who are friends and colleagues, what have you, I didn't find it funny.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank.
Even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when it came to Jake Paul taking on Gervonta Davis. He called it out straight. Jake's just too big for him. Smith argued that Paul keeps picking fights that never really test his skill, labeling this matchup as one-sided and far from competitive. In his view, Jake isn't chasing greatness, he's chasing comfort. By avoiding fighters who can truly match his level, Smith says Paul is proving that his boxing career is built more on easy wins and hype than genuine challenges.
That was Mike Tyson. Now you're going into the ring against a cat that's 228. He's a young lion, and no matter what questions may exist about Jake Paul and his ability to box real boxers, because we haven't really seen that yet from him, we don't question his power. No. We know he's got power.
Stephen A. Smith pressed Gervonta Davis's coach with a simple question. Who does he think truly deserves to share the ring with Tank next? The coach didn't hesitate for a second. He said anyone who's ever spoken against Davis should be first in line. Names like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez came up, fighters who've openly questioned Tank's greatness. But for the coach, this isn't just about rivalry. It's about respect. He believes those men need to feel, not just hear, what Tank's power is really like. This isn't about payback for their words. It's about silencing the voices that keep doubting Davis's dominance. In his eyes, it's time for the talkers to step inside the ropes and face the truth. The kind of truth only Tank can deliver with his fists.
Who do you want to see? You, as a guy that's in his trainer, that's like a father figure to him, you're training him all the time, you know him, both y'all from the streets of Baltimore the whole bit. Who do you want to see Tank fight next?
I want him to get all of them that ran their mouth.
Give me the names. I need names, Calvin. I need names.
You already know. We went down to, we're working on the big four. It was Garcia. That's the first one. Roma, I hope we get him soon. Shakur, he's going to get it. He know he's going to get it. It's just Bob is in charge of that. You know what I'm saying? Bob know what he's doing over there. You can't tell Bob how to run his game because he's like a vet at this. He's been doing it for so many years. That's going to happen. All the fights that we'll want, they have no choice. They're going to take the fight when it's time to take the fight. It's just right now, who's going to take the fight? That's the question.
Comedian and commentator Aries Spears didn't hold back when giving his take on the upcoming fight. To him, it feels less like a boxing match and more like a full-blown performance. He called it a circus, but an entertaining one. Still, Spears placed his faith in Davis's power and precision, predicting Tank would end the show early with a knockout by the third round. What makes his view interesting is the balance between critique and admiration. He mocked the spectacle surrounding the bout, yet praised Tank's ruthless efficiency in the ring. Spears' take mirrors how many fans feel, torn between laughing at the absurdity and leaning in to watch. Because no matter how wild the build-up gets, everyone knows Davis could still end it in brutal fashion before the night even hits its halfway mark.
Next fight that's coming up is Tank Davis versus Jake Paul.
Oh, this is such a circus.
Yeah. Look, according to BetOnline.ag, Gervonta Davis is favored -240, Jake Paul's +190. So more than twice the odds for Davis. Davis is a lot smaller, but he's a real serious fighter.
I'm predicting a third-round knockout.
Ooh.
Third
round knockout.
He's out of there. Listen, I don't know what's the bigger joke, that fight or Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, this is honestly just disappointing. As a boxing fan, to just keep seeing these circuses happen over and over again.
I don't know if the rumor's true, but I heard Floyd was talking about coming out of retirement to fight Crawford. Now that's got some panache to it.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
but
it would be.
I think Floyd will end up taking a loss.
Finally.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He'd mess up that record.
Yeah. And I would respect him for it because we know how much he's tried to protect the record. Take the risk. This is what great fighters are supposed to do.
Yeah, but it's interesting because people were saying that Terrence Crawford should retire because he's, 43-0 at this point?
Okay.
He's like 37 years old. I personally don't think
But he's still got the goods, though.
Oh, he's got the goods.
Yeah, he's still got the goods.
Because Canelo was a monster. Had been dominating for a while.
Right.
And like he had only had 2 losses, one of which was Mayweather, very early in his career. But this whole like Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis thing, is just like, because Gervonta was supposed to fight Roach. There was supposed to be a rematch because it was, I believe, a draw last time.
Yeah.
So you go and fight Jake Paul instead? I'm sure it's a much bigger bag. I'm sure it's a much bigger bag.
And clearly that's what it's about. It's the bag, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, pretty soon they're going to have Denzel Washington fighting somebody. Like, they're going to start putting like old men. I mean, they've already putting old men in the ring.
As long as before the fight, Denzel looks at his watch and goes, 16 seconds. I'm with it.
Stephen A. Smith, never one to hold back, says it's time for boxing to move beyond the circus acts and back to real competition. He believes Gervonta Davis should chase fights that truly test his limits, not exhibition-style events that add hype but subtract legacy. Smith made it clear who he wants next, a rematch with Ryan Garcia, a story still unfinished. He also mentioned Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, fighters who could challenge Davis both mentally and physically. His message is simple: fans deserve fights that matter. These are the battles that define greatness and bring back the competitive fire boxing was built on. Smith doesn't want to see Davis's talent wasted on spectacle. He wants it sharpened, tested, and proven against the best.
To me personally, I want to see him fight a Garcia again. I want to see him fight a Teofimo Lopez, somebody like that that's got some power, somebody that has the potential to inflict some pain upon him, because I don't know if anybody can do it. And I've totally lost it with David Haney. After what I saw Ryan Garcia do to him, even though Ryan Garcia was a bit bold.
A growing number of boxing commentators are running out of patience with Jake Paul's approach to the sport. They say his fight announcements keep following the same formula, picking unusual opponents who stir buzz instead of real competition. To many experts, these matchups seem built for headlines and viral moments, rather than for proving his worth in the ring. They point out that Paul often sidesteps fighters with similar experience, weight, or technical skill. And while his events pull in massive audiences, critics argue the entertainment value comes at a price: authenticity. The spectacle keeps overshadowing the sport itself, with storylines that feel more scripted than raw. For boxing purists, that's exactly why Paul still stands as a showman, not yet a true contender.
Performance. Jake Paul won the fight. But yeah, that was that. This time, Jake Paul is to take on Tank Davis. Tank Davis, he was recently in the news for being arrested for a domestic violence incident involving one of his kids' mother. He was alleged to have slapped her about the place. The charges were later dropped, to be fair to him. But yeah, that was when he was last in the news. What is interesting is just a couple of months ago, Tank Davis was saying openly that he'd lost his passion for boxing and that he wanted time away from the sport. There was speculation that he might even retire, as he was experiencing extreme mental fatigue from boxing, depression, and there were mental health concerns over him. However, I guess the opportunity to earn a truck full of money, fighting a completely worthless exhibition fight against Jake Paul, was enough to make him change his mind about boxing. Funny that, isn't it? But you know what? I'm not even going to waste your time or mine critiquing this utter nonsense. Suffice to say that this so-called fight we're talking about is an exhibition, and it pits Jake Paul, who is a cruiserweight, by the way, weighs in excess of 200 pounds, and Tank Davis, who is, he was the WBA lightweight champion, who weighs in at about 135 pounds when he fights. So that's a disparity of some 65 pounds. In old money, that's about 4.5 stone. There's also a significant difference in height. Jake Paul is roughly, 6'1", 2. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" at best. So, there's a height disparity there of some 8 inches. And once again, this is Jake Paul showing total disrespect to boxing, in my opinion.
There's a growing sense that Gervonta Davis's recent choices are being driven more by profit than prestige. Analysts argue that his team is chasing massive paydays instead of the kind of fights that could truly build his championship legacy. The upcoming matchup with Jake Paul only fuels that belief. To many, it's proof that boxing has shifted into an entertainment business first and a sport second. With Tank's reputation for brutal knockouts, pay-per-view success is almost guaranteed, and pairing him with a YouTube star only multiplies that draw. But for traditionalists, it's a troubling sign. They fear that fighters now measure opportunities by revenue, not rivalry. And while no one doubts Davis's talent, his recent moves suggest that legacy may no longer be the mission. The money is.
Look at how Tank started acting after he made 40 million with Ryan. When he make another 40 plus million with Jake,
he's gonna go make 40 million fighting Jake Paul, and then he's gonna come back and fight Lamont Road for what? He's gonna come back and fight Shakur Stevenson for what? He's not gonna fight none of those guys.
No, the only way he fight any of them guys, Turkey gonna have to hit him with the Crawford money. Cause that's the thing. You do this for a reason, bro. Like, I get it. You want him to be competitive, but his goal is money. He made 40 with Ryan plus everything in between. Now he get this 40, 50 million plus. He don't even gotta fight no more. So now if you want him to fight Shakur, give me that Canelo money.
Jeff Mayweather, a respected figure in the boxing community, has openly questioned the reasoning behind this fight. His main concern is simple: the massive gap in size and weight between the two men. He reminds everyone that boxing's division system exists for a reason: to keep competition fair and fighters safe. In this matchup, Jake Paul's naturally bigger frame gives him an undeniable physical edge. Jeff admits that while Davis may have the sharper skills, the difference in reach, mass, and sheer power makes the fight feel unbalanced. To him, it's more than just a bad pairing. It's a mismatch that threatens the sport's credibility. In his eyes, this isn't about two athletes proving themselves. It's about seeing how far boxing promoters will stretch the rules in the name of money and spectacle.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank. And I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting. But I mean, it really makes no sense because he's going to be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's going to probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
Carl Froch, never one to bite his tongue, didn't hold back when talking about Jake Paul's latest move. He accused Jake of deliberately targeting smaller fighters to keep a physical advantage. Froch called it ridiculous that Jake continues to dodge naturally bigger opponents like Anthony Joshua or true heavyweights, choosing instead to fight someone like Davis, who's several divisions below. To him, that decision says it all. Jake's not chasing legacy, he's chasing attention. It's about viral mismatches, not genuine tests of skill. Froch's comments echo the frustration of many boxing veterans who feel the sport's core values are being eroded by celebrity-driven spectacles. His blunt honesty cuts deep, raising a bigger question. Is modern boxing selling its integrity for views and paychecks?
AJ, Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Daniel Cormier, respected for his sharp insight across combat sports, didn't hold back his disapproval of the upcoming fight. He argued that this matchup lacks real competition and feels more like a foregone conclusion than a true contest. Cormier pointed out that Jake Paul's size advantage completely overshadows any excitement, making it hard for fans to take the bout seriously. He explained that the weight gap isn't just about numbers. It changes everything, from stamina to punch resistance to overall safety. In his eyes, the event might spark curiosity, but it offers little genuine sporting value. Cormier also warned that this obsession with spectacle over substance could erode boxing's credibility. His words echo a growing frustration among fighters, who feel the sport's proud traditions are slowly being replaced by flashy, hollow publicity stunts.
Wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
He's been a world
taking this
champion
fight.
so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like, I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and the Jose Suleiman was very upset that he wasn't going to be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's the thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 136 pounds.
Observers have noted that while many dismiss this fight as meaningless, it quietly serves multiple purposes within the boxing business. Promoters, media outlets, and even rival fighters all gain from the noise a controversial matchup creates. The outrage itself becomes fuel. Every argument, every headline, every debate turns into momentum that drives money and attention. Ironically, the same voices condemning the fight are the ones amplifying it, keeping it alive with every discussion. It's the strange truth of modern boxing, a sport that now feeds as much on controversy as competition. Every critique doubles as free advertising. Every insult sells another ticket. And the biggest twist of all, what fans label a mockery is exactly what keeps the industry alive, loud, and profitable.
Criticism for fighting Jake Paul, but yet at the same time, he is going to fight Jake Paul. Now, what I find interesting is how people on one hand are going to criticize it, but on the other hand, try to take advantage of it for their own profit. So Shakur Stevenson, definitely for press purposes, definitely for publicity purposes, offers to get in the training camp and spar for Jake Paul. Spar Jake Paul for the Tank fight. Now, why would he be doing this? It's called copycat crap. Because the last big fight that took place, which was Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, guess what happened? Jaron Ennis went and sparred Canelo Alvarez to help Canelo Alvarez prepare for Terrence Crawford. So, do I think that is coincidental? No, I do not. I think that it is trying to have your cake and eat it too. You are trying to complain and say Gervonta Davis is not a real competitive fighter, that this is a sideshow, freak show fight, but yet you want your name associated with it and you want to participate in it for your own good gain. Let me assure you that when Terrence Crawford said in an interview that he wouldn't fight Jake Paul, that's not a serious fight, and then they said, well, would you fight Jake Paul for $200 million? And he said, I'd be fighting Jake Paul.
The bigger conversation around this fight isn't really about who comes out on top. It's about what the matchup stands for. To many, it represents the fading line between pure sport and pure spectacle. Jake Paul's rise has already shown that fame can sometimes outweigh experience, and Gervonta Davis's participation proves that even world-class champions aren't immune to the pull of the spotlight. Critics say fights like this water down boxing's essence, turning the ring into a stage for novelty instead of true competition. But supporters see it differently, as evolution, a way to keep the sport alive in a social media era where attention equals survival. One thing's clear: this fight forces boxing to face its own identity. Is it still about skill, discipline, and proving superiority? Or has it become a business where fame, not merit, decides who gets to fight?
£5, bearing in mind Tank Davis fights at 135. That's £60 size difference. And Tank often weighs in light at 133.5 pounds. You know, he's 5'5". He's not a big guy. Okay, let's be honest, he's tiny. I could literally put him in my pocket. You know, he's a pocket rocket, but he's small. Yes, I know, I went too far. Let's move on. Jake's been fighting a cruiserweight, over 200 pounds. You know, he's 6'1". He's just a bigger guy. You know, a different beast. This is what Jake does. Love or hate him, he knows how to generate interest, get people talking. In his words, do the unthinkable. But guess what? People will tune in. What can I say? The guy's clever. He calls out AJ. The fight's looking likely. Everybody's outraged. Can't believe it. Then bang. He's fighting Tank. The man's half the size. He's done it again. Whether you like it or not, he's a marketing genius. He knows how to keep his name on your tongue. Everyone slated him for fighting Mike Tyson. I did too. He was fighting an old man with health problems. But guess what? I tuned in. And do you know why? Because curiosity killed the cat, and I wasn't alone. 100 million plus people tuned in.
And you know why? Because curiosity killed the cat, and this time the whole world wanted to see what happened next. I wasn't the only one. Over 100 million people tuned in, all driven by the same question. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.